Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SITI MAISARAH binti SAZALI and I'm from T04. Have you ever heard a popular quote that is floating around the internet for years? It is often attributed to the famed 20th century physicist Albert Einstein. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Well, there is not much evidence that Albert Einstein has ever said that. But does it matter? Does it make the basic logic behind this statement any less true? Unfortunately, the way we evaluate people's skills and capabilities makes about as much sense as judging a fish by its climbing ability. Firstly, I would like to ask you all a simple question. What are grades? Are they measurement one's intelligence, or are they just indicators of one's performance in exams? A fixation on tracking our growth and capabilities using standardized grading examinations has been implanted in us at an early age. By the time we reach adulthood, many people simply accept that this is the only method to gauge what we can accomplish. That's a huge problem because grades and intelligence are two very different kinds of things. I genuinely concerned that the impact of education labels using exam results would tremendously affect students' ability. Moreover, I also did my research regarding this educational system from various resources. Therefore, now I'm going to persuade you regarding this controversial topic with factual and valuable evidence. Without further ado, let's discuss the first problem. Judging students' ability using exam results is a problem as it limits students' potential. No doubt, schools' intention is to always help students learn and make a progress. It is convenient to section the classroom into the A students, the average students, and those who will fail. The practice of label students serves as a way to help teachers and staff to recognize and identify the strength of students. However, this may potentially harm to students who consistently score low marks in exams. Specifically, adults, including teachers and parents, may think the students cannot do what is required and lower their expectations. If the parents and the teachers do not believe in students' ability, then the students themselves do not either. It can create a vicious cycle which ultimately sets the students up to a failure. According to a number of small-scale interpretivist research studies of teachers' labeling, a closely related to labeling theory is self-fulfilling prophecy, where an individual accepts their label and the label becomes true in practice. For instance, a student labeled as deviant actually becomes deviant in response to being so labeled. In brief, it clearly shows that labeled students leads to a high probability for students to become a failure as it develops a negative mindset and limits students' capabilities in excel academically. Moving on to another important piece of information on why students must not classify based on test scores. There are different kinds of intelligence. Several students these days are very smart and intelligent but got poor grades in examinations. So, this proves that examinations are not an accurate way to determine one's overall intelligence. As an illustration, there are people who have the ability to be creative or artistic but do not have a great logical brain. In school, there are science stream and art students. However, for some reason, art students are being labeled as low-performing students. Meanwhile, science students are being labeled as intelligent students. This stigma is irrelevant and needs to be ended, as judging them on the basis of grades would be unfair. In fact, I would like to substantiate my opinion with historical real-life geniuses who performed abysmally in their school education but were great minds whose inventions and thinking changed the course of human development. Some of these geniuses were Isaac Newton, Thomas Edison, and Albert Einstein. You must remember this. A society will only succeed if they recognize life skills and creativity the same way they do academic success. Hence, schools should encourage students to choose a path or stream that they are keen on in order to ensure that students excel in that subject, not just solely based on their exam performance. Finally, let's discuss on the solution. Schools should embrace their strength. Andrew Morris, a chief executive Victoria's Academies Trust, stated that we should get a fairer system where schools can prioritize both academic standards and a broad, rich, balanced, creative education. Schools is also supposed to be safe places and holding them to account if they fall below a certain set of performance, not trying to fix a label on students. Besides, educators are responsible to find out what students are good at and put it to good use rather than always trying to fix them. It is vital for students to be emotionally healthy and to know what is right from what is wrong, and they can express themselves. These strengths matter and can be easily forgotten when trying to hit standards or requirements. And that is all. Labels can be difficult to remove, but it is never too late to become aware of the impact. Let's recap on what I have explained in this video. Firstly, I mentioned that judging students' ability using exam results is a problem as it limits students' potential. Just in the same way, I mentioned that there are different kinds of intelligence. Finally, I suggested a technique on how to overcome these problems. I beg all of you to open your eyes and realize how critical this issue is in our field of education. Labels definitely agitate our students' ability and accomplishment in future. Hence, I think that is all from me. My aim is to encourage the educators to debunk the myth that intelligence is fixed. And in order to ensure students' achievement in future, learning capacity must be transformed, enhanced, and grown. Thank you.